go on and on about that, let's go to the rest of the picks and bans, seeing as we are finished them now. Blue team has banned out Wukong, LeBlanc, and Vi, all very strong solo queue champions. Personally, I feel that Wukong would be better. It would be better to ban either a Feral Flare jungler or to ban someone like Jax. Just because, well, Wukong, his early game was nerfed quite heavily with his Q changes, and even then he was pretty alt reliant. It's not that he's a bad champion, he's still a very strong jungler, but there is less reason to pick Wukong right now than there was before, and there's more reason to pick a lot of the hyper-scaling jungles where, oh, you get ahead and you're crazy, crazy overpowered, like Xin, Nocturne, basically anyone who abuses Feral Flare. On the flip side, they have banned out a lot of Feral Flare junglers, Master Yi and Xin, and also an Aurelia ban. I'm not sure if the Aurelia was a target ban or if just something they're not comfortable playing versus. It seems a little odd, but Aurelia is in a good place. People give her a lot of flack for being such a weak character, and she really isn't. You just have to outplay your opponents. In terms of picks, they then have a Lucian and... Is that a Teemo support? No, I'm assuming that's a... Vel'Koz support. Yeah, so it's going to be Lucian Vel'Koz support. Crazy poke, but they're going to have to position really well. They have a Kha'Zix at jungle, which is a very strong pick right now. I would argue he's the strongest jungle in the game. That is not a Feral Flare abuser. They then have a Teemo, I'm assuming, top with an Akali mid. Perfectly fine champions, and then on the flip side they have a Nami Caitlyn bot lane. Great poke, great disengage, but they need to be able to land those bubbles. I believe we've seen Butter play Nami before, and he's a good Nami player. I have no real complaints there. And then assuming that's a Soraka top, it could be a Soraka mid. I don't know. She works in any solo lane and is very scary if she gets if he gets ahead. And we'll see if this game actually loads so that I can see this. Okay, sorry, we are loaded in here. They then okay, yes, so that is a Soraka top with an RA mid. Honestly, this jungle is boiling down to how well does Kha'Zix invade and counter jungle, and is he showing up where he needs to be? If Karma gets rolling, also I don't like the teleport on Karma, that seems odd, but if they let Karma scale up, if they let Karma get to the point where her poke is truly terrifying, then Purple Team has a very good opportunity to just pick out any target with a bubble, with a charm, with a trap, any CC that they have, and then just going to, boom, lay on a huge amount of poke, burst them down. But I'm slightly questioning their team fight. They don't have a large amount of lockdown. They don't have a crazy wombo combo outside of like a Nami and Karma alt. So we'll see how that goes. And then on the flip side, it's going to boil down to Kha'Zix, how well he counter jungles, whether or not Akali can get rolling. If Akali gets rolling, I would expect Purple Team to have a lot of issues, because they don't have that hard disengage. They don't have that really tanky member who can just sort of get up in her face. Same with Teemo. If he gets rolling, has shrooms all over the map, that's going to be very difficult for them not having any sort of a tank. Vel'Koz, if Vel'Koz positions properly and Lucian positions properly, that's some great poke. But again, it really is a skill matchup. I wouldn't favor either of these teams 100% either way, just based on picks. Do you have any comments about like scaling, counters, anything like that?
Looking at these team comps, Purple Team is really going to benefit from long fights. And by long fights, I mean you have Soraka dropping Starfall, which Starcall or Starfall or whatever it's called, that shreds MR. You have Karma's mana efficiency, her poke, more mantras the longer a fight goes on. Nami's sustained lockdown with bubbles and so on. So I'm really concerned about whether Blue Team can get the early game advantage they need to just mop up fights fast. Because the longer a fight goes on, the worse their odds are. So what I would like to see from Blue Team is a lot of early game aggression. I would like to see them invade against a Karma.
We do have a pause coming out here.
Unfortunately, yes. So we talk a lot about how junglers in these games are just incredibly passive. They farm their jungle, and Feral Flare has really increased this trend. You know, the other jungles just ignore each other and have a gentleman's agreement to farm, and that is a huge skill gap for lower level players. You really need to be in the enemy jungle's face, especially if they pick Karma, Sejuani, to a lesser extent a Mumu. Anyone who can't stand up to aggression in the jungle needs to just constantly be harassed. In my humble opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You need to be shutting down Karma. And honestly, if Kha'Zix can clear his jungle and invade, obviously Kha'Zix isn't going to be building Feral Flare. That's not an item that he wants. So he's going to be less reliant on just solo farming his jungle. So I want to see those invades. I want to see him going in possibly at like a level 2 fight at the enemy red buff. That would be a really nice thing to see happen. I'm going to lower the volume here. It's a little loud. And trying to kill her at her red. I don't know if he's going to do that, though. I think he's probably going to question his skills a little bit. And while Kha'Zix's early dueling is okay, he really does kind of want his level 6 for that extra evolution, for the gap closing speed buff from the ult, the damage reduction. It is very nice.
Ultimately, we've seen after game of yelling people to keep dragon timers, aggressively go after dragon. They started doing that with a lot more success. So I'm hoping if we yell at people enough, we will get them to start invading and warding the jungle and actually keep counting their jungler as a dynamic part of the team and not the guy who sits there farming until 40 minutes.
Agreed, yes. I mean,
I
it's just
also,
such a good way to influence the game. It can't even begin to describe it.
So Vel'Koz support, I'm seeing a lot of people playing Vel'Koz support, picking him up, and he is, I think, a pick that requires a lot of skill, a lot of very good position.
Your mic just cut out.
Oh, my bad. He requires a lot of skill, a lot of very careful positioning, and he is also, I think, countered by the current Holy Trinity of Thresh, Leona, and to a lesser extent Morgana. So I'm a little concerned to see how Vel'Koz support does, especially against a Caitlyn Nami.
Yes, now that being said, if he is able to just sort of stand back and let his AD carry do his thing, then I would expect to see him poking back with his Q constantly. That being said, if Vel'Koz is maintaining that style of positioning, Lucian could be collapsed on very easily.
If Vel'Koz was with Caitlyn, I think that would be an excellent choice, but Vel'Koz is such a siege support, and Lucian wants to be starting some shit. He wants to be up in people's faces. He wants to be an aggressive ADC. I'm not sure how much synergy there is with that combo. We'll see, I'm sure, as lane unfolds.
Interesting start on Akali. Doran's shield was an incredibly good start on her. I'm not sure if I like it anymore. It's still fine. It's an okay start. But I have seen a lot of Akalis going more for like a Katarina style play, where they're going something like boots and a hell of a lot of potions. Either is a good option, though. I mean, sorry, not Akali. Ahri does auto attack harass a lot, so we'll just see how this lane goes.
Ahri has been hit by nerf after nerf. She's still an extremely potent assassin, but it's so essential that she hits her charm.
Yeah, even more so now. I mean, it used to be that she could pull off kills without needing to charm, and now it's absolutely essential.
I honestly think mid lane is going to be a skill matchup in the end. I think either champion come out ahead here.
So this is what you would normally expect from a Soraka, just constantly shoving up. I would like to see Kha'Zix, again, countering that. Whether it's invading jungle or whether it's ganking and camping top, he needs to have an early influence. So we'll see what he decides to do after his first clear here.
I actually really like the Soraka topic against the Teemo, because Teemo is about a war of attrition. He pokes you down, he is an annoying little butthole, he plants shrooms, he blinds you, and Soraka is rather immune to that. She heals up, she can poke him from afar with her E, she can just cancel out his mushrooms with her W. So I'm actually a really big fan of that pick and hope to see it pay off.
So we see Kha'Zix getting kind of caught out here. He's sort of trying to duel, but he's so caught out.
excellent leap over the jungle wall, but here comes Ari. He has all three purple member teams on his tail, and Ari actually picks up First Blood and double buff. First Blood, not as much of a game changer as it used to be, but double buff on Ari at 4 minutes, 5 minutes, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, that's definitely not something you want, especially with Akali's relatively weak laning phase. I had a small comment for Vel'Koz. It's not a game-changing issue, but at level 2 he took his W. If I were him, I would be taking his E at level 2 so that you have a counter engage or an engage so that you can set up fights for Lucian. The W, you kind of need them locked in place for it to do damage. Outside of that, you use it as wave clear, but you're a support. So I would have liked to see that taken at level 2.
I do want to take a moment to say props to Nami and Ari for seeing a jungle skirmish going down and immediately going to help their jungler. Big props to them right there. That is exactly what I want to see.
Apparently some people are having a bunch of issues with ping. This, guys, is why you don't play on the North American servers.
Hui, hui, hui. Hui, hui, hui.
Exactly. There's these lovely East Coast servers, and they are magical. So crazy amount of poke going on to Vel'Koz. He does land the disruption here, but honestly, at the end of the day, that's not a fight you want.
We're seeing another pause come out, I assume, while people figure out their ping issues. These are not replays, Lander. These are live games. We are spectating.
Yeah, these are all viewers.
There's, of course, a 3 minutes delay because of the spectating system. But yeah, these are all live games with stream viewers.
Yeah, well, basically we take 10 viewers who are of similar rating. We pair them up in assigned roles versus each other. We watch their game and commentate what they can improve on in their gameplay. So it's overall aspects of gameplay, not just mechanics. It's decision-making, attitude, everything that we can comment on.
So if anyone has any questions, now is an awesome time to ask.
These people are so boring. Okay, I'll do a fancy little dance for you later.
I'm pretty boring. Like, I get excited about what I'm having for dinner. That's boring. That's old. That's an old person thing to care about. Yeah, the game is paused right now, Dossie. We're just waiting for somebody to restart their router.
What? Okay, I did not know you could do this display mode, and it's kind of awesome.
What? What display mode?
Look at the stream. I started typing, and this is how the display changed. Oops, that's the wrong one.
What? That's beautiful.
It's really nice looking. I don't know how to, like, change it back, but... Oh, I pushed a button and everything changed.
Lander, I don't know what I'm having for dinner, and it could be anything, and that's so exciting. Like, I think my fiance is gonna cook, and like, oh my god, if he makes mashed potatoes, I'm gonna shit my pants. I'll be so happy.
That seems an extreme reaction.
You've never had his mashed potatoes. They're so good. Wolves of the Night. I am only 23, but like I am old at heart. I'm an old woman. I'm like 90 in terms of my soul. It's terrible.
Well, maybe if you didn't keep selling off small pieces of it.
Hey man, it was a really hot day, and I really wanted a glass of chocolate milk. Totally worth the deal with the devil.
Okay.
Somebody is asking who is this woman. I assume they mean me. I am Marie Queen, the stream moderator, artist, and all around helpful person, I guess, is my job title.
Well, this is a long pause. I don't know if they're coming back or what.
Do you want to hear an amazing joke?
I would love to hear an amazing joke.
How do astronauts say they're sorry?
I do not know.
They apologize.
Oh, that hurt. Oh, right in the soul. Right in the soul.
What are the main elements that a lot of people lack in lower elos that prevent them from climbing? That's a pretty big question.
I
basic mechanics.
Yeah.
I think is the first and foremost.
There's a lot of things, but The core things I see in low elo, they focus champions over farm and objectives. So you need to be able to farm properly. You need to be able to control objectives. You need to be able to stop chasing champions and end the game. So those are really what it boils down to. How you go about those things is complicated, right? There is a lot of methods you can use. You need to be timing buffs. You need to be doing lane rotations. You need to be catching people out. You need to be warding. You need to be communicating. But at its core, it boils down to prioritizing farm, prioritizing objectives, stop paying attention to kills, for the most part. Obviously, kills are nice, but they're not what people make them out to be. All right, so we have this unpaused. I don't know how to get rid of this. Like,
What has been done cannot be undone.
it shows champion stats.
The best role to play in order to gain elo, honestly, whatever you are best at, but if assuming that you are equally competent or incompetent at all 5 roles, I would have to say mid or support.
I would say jungle right now. Jungle is... Oh, it went away. Okay. Sorry. I would say jungle right now is the most influential role in the game because they are so powerful at all stages of the game. They influence the maximum number of roles the earliest in the game, and then at the moment, anyways, they are one of the best scaling classes in the game.
Pro, don't contradict me in front of the children, please.
I'm sorry that you're wrong. You're welcome.
Okay, so, we're seeing that, Soraka top lane has a 35 to 12 CS advantage. Kha'Zix is coming around. Kha'Zix goes in, Qs, drops the W, is dropping the Ignite on Soraka. Soraka does flash away, but it looks like she is going to escape. Yes, they cannot polish Soraka off. She is one tough lady. So a 20 CS advantage is equal to about 1 or 2 kills. So a lot of people go really greedy.
Your mic cut out again.
You don't have to murder your lane opponent to win. You can just out-farm them, and that will get you a great gold bonus over the other team.
Yeah, I am a little disappointed though. He has 12 CS and we're 7.5 minutes into the game. That should not happen. So that proves to me that he does not, or he's not as comfortable as he should be with last hitting under tower. I'm sure he's probably decent at it in lane, but that's a skill you need to be comfortable with. You need to know how to last hit with your champion well forced into your tower when you're being pressured with harass.
If you make a little, if you tell me what the pattern is for minions under tower, I believe it is tower hit, last hit for the frontline minions,
Yes.
for instance. If you write those down for me, I will make a little infographic with that information that we can link to during workshops.
Yeah,
so that we don't have to
generally
keep having this
speaking,
conversation.
it does depend on how much AD you have. But generally speaking, melee minions, tower hit, 2 tower hits and then an auto attack. On caster minions, auto attack, tower hit, auto attack. If you have more AD, then you won't need to do that. That's why as a support bot lane, you'll generally auto attack before the tower hits it, then your AD carry hits it after the tower hits it. That's what I would consider minion prepping.
Someone is asking, does Soraka play defensive or offensive in terms of masteries and such and runes and such? You want to go defensive. A lot of Soraka's power is in her Q, on stacking lots of Q on the enemy, and that requires her to be in a precarious position. While her W does give her defensive stats, she does need that boost, and she does need to go rather tanky.
Yeah, you're going to be running 21 points in defense pretty much every game. The extra 9 points you can put in either. If you're top lane, you're probably not getting double buffs, or you're not getting any buffs usually, so it's less essential to have those points in utility. Honestly, though, it really is personal preference. You can go crazy hem and go more into offense. You can go crazy defensive and run like a 0-30-0 page if you really wanted. I mean, either is viable. So back mid lane, Ahri does have a decent CS advantage as well as 2 kills. Those have not really changed. She got the 1 kill onto Kha'Zix, giving her double buffs, and then she used those double buffs to get a kill onto Akali. I want to see how she's going to use that advantage, whether she opts to go and roam a lot, or if she's going to go a more dueling approach. She does waste her flash here. I don't think that flash was needed.
We were very skeptical about jungle Karma, but she is showing a great deal of proficiency at her role. And the main thing that she's doing is she's showing up to put pressure where the enemy jungler is. If Kha'Zix is there, you can expect Karma to be there shortly after. And, she got that early assist over Kha'Zix when Kha'Zix entered her jungle. And she's really pushing that leverage. Everywhere Kha'Zix is, Karma follows, and she has the gold advantage to put him in his place, despite Kha'Zix being a stronger jungler in terms of the champion.
For sure. Now, I would like to point out, Teemo made a mistake where he sort of walked past turret in vision and tried to recall there. Of course, Soraka is going to delay that back and use it to make you waste extra time. If I were him, I would not have done that. If you have to go back, just back out and then recall.
Someone is saying don't play Soraka in low elo because she requires a team. That's not wrong, but the thing is Soraka is a force multiplier. 100 times 0, still 0. But if you have a team that is, you don't need to have an LCS style team in order to succeed on Soraka. Honestly, even the bare minimum of communication can lead to a very effective Soraka. So while she doesn't carry all by herself in the way that some popular supports do right now, she is not exactly helpless in the face of low elo either.
So down bot lane, poor Lucian with this Vel'Koz DC. This is really unfortunate. He's actually returning a lot of pain here. He's going to get that kill. That was just Nami not sticking with her AD carry. She kept trying to duel, and yes, you have a 2v1 lane on her side. But that doesn't mean that Lucian's damage is in any way lowered.
I think ultimately it's important to always play cautiously, even when somebody's down a member, even when somebody's has no farm or no kills. You should never have a tactic that relies on the other enemy being a stupid person or playing stupidly. And that was what Nami was doing. She was honestly thinking that she could 1v1 an ADC. And that is silly. That is hubris. Do not do it.
Alright, so Kali trying to turn into a bit of a roamer here. She's going to get caught out in her jungle. Kha'Zix is on his way. I would like to see Lucian moving up for this fight. They could quite easily have turned this around, but they're just not quite on the same page. At this point, Ahri has shown up, so now it is 4v3. Blue team is very split off. Akali does get away. Good jump coming out from Nidawi here, and he's able to escape as well.
I will say Nidawi is doing excellent work with his leap. A lot of Kha'Zix has used it as a gap closer. He is using it as an escape, which is very smart, especially since his team is down a member. Using your only mobility tool to get into someone's face usually leads to you dying. So that's a little smart thing he is doing there.
If you need an easy graph for that, try watching me play AP Ezreal, where I use my E offensively and then go, oh shit, now I'm dead.
It is time for a true display of skill?
Yes. And then I die. Oh boy. Okay, so at this point, Purple Team is doing a good job of trying to close out the game. They're pushing towers, they're taking Dragon right now, they're setting up as much as they can for themselves, and as much as, yeah, it definitely sucks that there is a DC on the enemy team, this is how you play that situation in solo queue. As soon as that DC is there, you don't waste time. They could reconnect. I mean, you want to get as big of an advantage as you can. Anytime the enemy team has something bad happen. Oh, someone's DC'd. Oh, one of them is quote-unquote feeding. You need to push your advantage. No matter what that advantage is, you need to push it as hard as you can, snowball it into a larger advantage, and not let up that pressure.
Right, and there are ways that you can snowball. Sometimes, if let's say I'm in bot lane and I get a kill, get a couple of wards, because if I can either survive or get a kill because I have vision in a blind spot, then I have just turned 75 gold into 300 gold, which helps me snowball.
Yeah, people undervalue how much gold wards actually pay out when used properly. You might not get that gold, but your team will. And as much as even I say, okay, well, you can't rely on your team, blah, 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 that doesn't mean you need to ignore your team. You still want to have their help, and you want to set up anything that you can for your allies. Looks like Kha'Zix is going to get away with that kill. Very nice job. The good placed Teemo shrooms there as well to make sure that that escape did not go through.
I just want to give some mad respect to Lucian here. Lucian is down as support for the vast majority of this game, and yet he's only about 20 CS behind his lane opponent, and he's actually up a kill. So he's not exactly even, but he's dang close. And, you know, that requires a really good attitude and, you know, playing well despite being at a major disadvantage. So seriously, really good job to Killer HGX for not raging out or getting discouraged, etc.
Yeah, his CSing has been quite on point. I mean, yeah, he's missed a few, but everyone misses a few. It happens. He's doing
Nope,
a
not
really
me.
good job.
I'm perfect. Sorry, deal with it.
I forgot those silver mechanics.
Purple is doing both purple and blue are doing some pretty good warding. Blue does not have a lot of wards on the map right now, but I believe there's just expired recently. Meanwhile, purple has a pink near dragon. They have Tribush and river covered. They have near the red choke point in the lower jungle covered. So Caitlyn and Nami can keep pushing without much fear of reprisal right now, and I really like that warding. I really like the way that they can farm securely because they know if blue team opponents are coming.
I really want to see this Akali pulling off this roam. She has made it down bot lane, but she keeps kind of showing herself, and now she's just, yeah, a little too ham. I want to see her pulling off roam, and so far has not been doing so effectively. Holy fuck, those smell good. Brian made food, and I'm drooling.
Oh my god, what do you make? Tell me.
Toaster strudels.
Oh,
He didn't do
okay.
anything fancy this time.
This time. He's fattening you up for the main course, clearly.
Well, no, he didn't even make them for me. He's just like sitting there eating them while I drool.
Divorce.
Yep. I know you do, Brian. He'll make me pizza tonight. That's fine. Okay, so Karma going in with her speed buff. The bind not quite staying on long enough to connect. It looks like both teams are just kind of going to go their own ways without taking any real damage.
Like purple team with Karma and Soraka is able to just disengage from a fight. If they don't want a fight to happen, they have the tools to be like, nope, we're out later. Combine that with, you know, Nami's lockdown, with Caitlyn's mobility, and purple team honestly can just remove the team fight phase from this game. If they want to fight, they can. If they don't want to, they have all the tools they need to just peace out.
Yeah, and that is a powerful thing in solo queue. And it annoys me to no end where teams are picking like, I want a poke comp. Okay, but what happens if the enemy team doesn't let you poke? Well, you need a way to reset that fight. So if you pick a poke comp that has no CC, don't be surprised when they hard engage onto you and your team comp is now useless.
I also think that's why Karma is incredibly undervalued as a support right now, because she has a free Talisman of Ascension on her Mantra E.
For sure. Now, Vel'Koz did come back, but they are getting collapsed on so hard here. So he's going to be taken down. Lucian as well, just instantly burst. Kha'Zix a little cut out here. He pops his ult, and looks like he's trying to go back in. I would not do this with two members of my team already dead. Vel'Koz is back up in 5 seconds. I would wait for him. Just try and hold the inhib turret.
Vel'Koz?
What did I say?
You said Vel'Koz will be up in 5 seconds.
Yeah. He was dead. He was alive in 5 seconds.
Oh, Vel'Koz is back. He
Yes.
still has 2 CS and like 1 death, so I was like, I thought he was still disconnected.
No. He just died.
Wow, I have such good map awareness, clearly. Vel'Koz gets a
Yeah.
good laser off, but he did it at max range. And the thing is with Vel'Koz laser is it's sustained damage over time, so you need to be able to keep people in it for the passive stack and then explosion. So a max range laser generally isn't a good idea, especially because you can get a similar amount of damage out just with a Q and W combo. Meanwhile, Akali going in, going ham, drops the shroud. It looks like she's barely going to escape. Blue team following up with her aggression, but purple team, like we said, purple team just has such strong disengage and such strong sustain that they look at that aggression and they basically roll full and turn it around. So now we have 5 bot. Teemo is pushing mid. I don't really know what Teemo's doing here, frankly. And Lucian is down bot alone, holding the tower against the onslaught.
Yeah, that also really hurt me seeing them position that way. Blue team walked all of them into a Mantra Q from Karma. It was already on the ground. They all sort of just walked into it, let it explode, and then still tried to fight after they got shredded for that very large amount of health.
Purple team needs to back out. They don't really have the resources to fight right now. It looks like Nami is actually going to go down to Kha'Zix. Ari and Caitlyn are swinging around to help out the support.
Very nice from Vel'Koz there, that disengage. I don't know why that flash was needed, though. He just kind of panic flashed right after.
Purple team needs to look at their options. They need to go, well, we cannot take the turret with Teemo Shrooms down and the entire blue team up. So what can we do? And it looks like they have that decision. They're going to go around, they're going to take Dragon and give blue to Soraka. But I would have liked to see them leave a little bit earlier. I mean, they made the right decision in the end, so in the end it's not too big a deal, but would have been nice to see them make that choice earlier.
For sure. Now, again, great snowballing from Purple Team. Take every objective you can. Get that global gold. Set yourself up for even a larger advantage than you had before. Someone's making fun of me because I really hate Rylai's. It's a good item on Soraka. There's no denying that. It's very good on her. It annoys me, though, when people build a Rylai's on a champion whose skills are all AoE or already CC someone. They don't stack very well.
I'm gonna like play Soraka and just build nothing but tier and Rylai's, just to see you cry.
Well, you need 2 tiers then. One for the tiers of your enemies and one for the tiers of your allies.
2 tiers so you can cry me a river.
Yep. And then, of course, a Rylai so you can freeze that river and go skating.
Purple team right now has over a 10k gold advantage, and I really like how purple team, they are comfortable as moving as 5, but they're also pretty fine with split pushing. You have Caitlyn being a persistent thorn and blue team side on bottom, and then you have, Soraka and Ari and Nami pushing mid and sort of being a distraction. What I don't like here is Teemo. I don't really know what Teemo's doing. He never seems to be with his team. When you're turtling, shrooms are an amazing resources, and yet I don't really know why he's top. I don't know if what his goal is beyond, I guess, get some CS. But it doesn't really seem to be helping his team at all.
This Nami is just barely escaping everything. Very good cycling of cooldowns on her, and she does get away in the end. Ooh, I do not like this decision from Lucian. He's so far in for no reason. Good decision to stay lifesteal and use his heal.
Akali going in on Caitlyn. This might be Caitlyn's first death. Caitlyn nets out and is just poking. Akali uses her last dash to get in, throws a Q, and finally takes Caitlyn down for the shutdown bonus. So Caitlyn, again, I like her decision to stay bot and be a thorn in her side, but I think she also needs to be more proactive about getting out. Once she draws people to her, that should be mission accomplished, and she should be using her net to get out more proactively instead of using it when there's an Akali hot on her tail, IMO.
Very good use of sweepers coming out. At the moment they only have 2. I wouldn't mind seeing Karma getting her own sweeper in the nearish future. I also would like to see these sweeping lens upgraded to oracles. That way they can detect Akali in her shroud. Not that Akali has been a huge issue for them, but it would still be a nice thing to have just to further secure their victory.
So right now, Teemo has been kind of a non-factor in this game, and I really do not like picking on one person, but he is, I guess, giving some very good lessons that everyone can learn from right now, and that he is sort of a non-factor. He is not really dropping shrooms. He's not really helping his team turtle. Instead, he always just seems to be floating around top lane, and I'm really not a big fan of that decision. I would like to see him shrooming up Baron and the surrounding area so that they have vision and the ability to contest if purple team goes for it. I would like to see him, if not doing that, then helping protect his inhibitors and inner towers.
My other concern with him is his item build. He's gone for a Nashor's Tooth Doran's Ring. Sorry, Doran's Ring and Merc Treads. Honestly, if you're this far behind, the only way you're going to be able to contribute to a team fight is with quick bits of burst and with your shrooms. So I would like to see a more offensive build from him, a burst setup. because you're not going to be able to stay in range to land consistent auto attacks to make that Nashor's in any way relevant. I would like to see a Morellonomicon, because there's so much healing on purple team. Good Vel'Koz ult, but not going to do much for them. Continuing on the build comment, though, I would like to see Morellonomicon cancel out some of the heal. There are 2.5 healers on the enemy team because of Karma's Mantra W. I would then like to see either a Liandry's or a Death Cap or a Void Staff, dependent again on how the enemy team's playing. Honestly, at this stage of the game, I would expect him to have, we're 25 minutes in, I would expect him to have a Morellonomicon and a Void Staff.
I'm curious what you think about Liandry's on Teemo in this sort of situation to sort of double down
setup.
his mushroom damage.
In this setup, it's a little bit questionable. You build Liandry's when you're versus tanky champions, but you also build Liandry's when your only damage contribution is your shrooms. So the enemy team is not overly tanky, they're all pretty squishy, but having that extra shred would increase the effectiveness of his shrooms and not the effectiveness of his auto attacks. So yeah, I would still say it's a good build for him in this game.
This Ahri is just on point all game long. I'm really impressed with her charms. I'm really impressed with her ability to move with her team and sort of follow the lead of teammates when they're taking action. She's not pulling off, you know, she's pulling off some really flashy plays, but more importantly, she's just being really consistent and reliable for her team.
Completely agreed. I can say that for most of Purple Team, where their play has just been solid. Again, it's not crazy plays, it's just consistency, and that is what you need in solo queue.
So it looks like Purple Team is going to take the Nexus. This was not a 100% fair match. We did have DCs, we did have server issues that affected Blue Team, but I really want to give props to both teams for having a good sense of humor about it, for not raging out, for not giving up. Everyone clearly did their best, even when dealing with technical issues. And that's a really great skill that really everyone should learn. So big props to both teams for having a really positive attitude and not being jerks about it.
Alright, so we are starting the matchmaking for the next game. If you get an invite from someone named Felvrick, please accept it. He is the one doing the matchmaking for the next games. That way we won't have as much downtime between matches. If you would like to play in the workshop, I believe there is a link in chat right now related to it. It will give you all the instructions you need in order to join the proper room.
Oh my god, Soraka versus Blue, fight of the century. I'm on the edge of my...
She wins.
Yes! With an assist from Nami. So the surrender comes out. So again, good job to both teams. Unfortunately, there were server issues, but that happens. As for MVPs, I honestly, this is one of those games where for Purple Team, there is no MVP. Everyone really carried their weight. Everyone worked together. Their teamwork was incredible, and so I really can't name an MVP for Purple Team. For Blue Team, I'm going to have to call Lucian as the MVP. He was against incredible disadvantages on bot lane with no support. And yet he really pulled through. He did a really solid game. He kept his head. And that's really a skill set that will carry you all the way to Challenger if you work hard enough. So, congrats to Lucian for being Blue Team MVP.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. If you want to go over item builds there, I will be right back. I just gotta throw some food in the toaster or microwave or whatever unhealthy thing I can find. And then we're going to start the next game. For those in the chat rooms, the person inviting you for the next game is named Felvrick. Please accept those. And the RP giveaway is in 30 minutes, so it will be running during this next game. I will be right back.
Okay, so Nidalee on Kha'Zix has Merc Treads, Hex Drinker, Rush to Spirit of the Elder Lizard. I'm not a really big fan of the Hex Drinker. I don't think it's the most efficient MR item. I do appreciate the thought behind it. I would have, and the Merc Treads, maybe a bit, you might have sacrificed a lot of your damage, which is really what Kha'Zix needed. You might want to go with something a little more aggressive instead, but I certainly understand the thought process behind all of that. Red Spirit on Vel'Koz, unfortunately, had a lot of server issues and disconnection issues, but I really like the Sightstone and the Talisman of Ascension. Source Shoes, no problems there. I also appreciate the Sweeping Lens. It's pretty much the best trinket for support, so good choice there. Lucian, Bloodthirster, Triforce, pretty standard, no complaints, no boots, but with his dash, not necessarily the end of the world. We discussed Teemo's build during the game. I'm not going to really rehash that. And then Akali didn't really finish a single item, but all of the individual parts she is making seem to be standard for what Akali would want. Karma, in the jungle we have Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, Athene's Unholy Grail, and Leandry's, all good choices. Something that allows her to jungle efficiently and clear efficiently without sacrificing her team fight potential, so good job there. Nami, Twin Shadows, Sightstone, Mikhail's very team-focused items, which I like and appreciate. Caitlyn, pretty standard, BT, PD, Last Whisper, no real complaints there, very standard. Soraka has the Rylai's double Dorans and was working towards the Leandries. That seems pretty good for top Soraka, and then it served her well. And then Ahri has Athene's Lichbane. I'm not sure if Lichbane is still something you would get on Ahri with the nerfs.
You would generally be focusing DFG, not that.
But the
DFG is
Athene's
so
was a
core
good
on her.
first choice.
Yes. Yeah, if you need the mana, and when you're versus an energy caster, you probably will want it. After that, though, you really do need that early Deathfire Grasp. I oftentimes also see people building Hourglass after, because, again, you need to be able to get in, use your combo, get out.
So that is item builds.
Okay.